Hello, my name is Annette DeLu, and you are listening to The Heart of You. Welcome back. So today's channeled message is going to be about moving forward and manifesting the things that you really, really want to manifest. And I know that topic has been sort of overdone and lots of people talk about it. So this is nothing new. But the reason why I'm feeling guided to talk to you about this particular topic is that I had this insane dream about a week ago. And the dream was about Ed Sheeran. It was so ridiculous. So just a little background. If you don't know me well at this point, I'm basically a fan of like all 80s music. Two of my favorite bands of all time are The Cure and Depeche Mode. You know, I like all kinds of music. I really do. I like pop music. I like, classical, all kinds of music. Ed Sheeran is not an artist that I've really ever paid that much attention to. I've seen him in concert only because I had a really good friend who had an extra ticket and she's like, hey, do you want to go? And of course, I'm not going to turn down a day out for a beautiful concert at the Stade de France. And, it's surprising because it was a really, really good show. He put on a really amazing show. But I digress. The dream itself was actually about my relationship and love life. So in the dream, I had met Ed Sheeran and I was just absolutely smitten with him, which is funny because he's definitely not my type physically. And, he's like 32, and it's funny because I didn't know how old he was until after the dream was done. But let me finish the dream. So I met him and he asks me if I like his music. And I said, well, it's okay. Like I saw you in concert. You put on a really, really good show, but I wouldn't say that I listen to your music all the time. And I said, I actually know you because of Game of Thrones. And he's like, seriously, you know me from Game of Thrones? I was on it for like a minute. I'm like, I know, but everybody was so pissed that you were on it because why is Ed Sheeran in my, fantasy show? So we're having this conversation. And as it turns out, throughout the course of the dream, we developed this romantic connection that was really, really, really beautiful. And I felt this beautiful unconditional love. I felt like just everything that you could possibly want in a romantic connection. And sort of towards the end of the dream, I was sitting at a picnic table with him and his manager. And I don't know how we got on the topic, but we started talking about age. And all of a sudden he looks at me, he goes, wait, how old are you? And I remember in the dream thinking that, oh, he's 32 and I'm 49. He doesn't know how much older I am than him. And the second I was about to tell him how old I was, I woke up. It was really, really weird and interesting, but okay, fine. It felt really real. The dream felt super, super, super real. So I woke up and I'm like, okay, my guides, what's that all about? Because before I went to bed, I actually set the intention. I said, thank you to my angels and my guides for sending me a dream that is going to help me with my romantic and relationship life. And so I had this dream and I was like, oh, okay, I don't know how that's helping me, but okay. So I go throughout my day and I happened upon this YouTube channel. Well, I should say just a YouTube video. And the video basically said it was a reader that I used to follow a lot. And I actually don't watch a lot of readers on YouTube anymore, but this video popped up and it said, you will be in a beautiful connection with a high profile person, maybe a celebrity, something like that. And I'm just laughing. I'm like, oh, okay, that's hilarious. So keep in mind, I'm fully aware that, Ed Sheeran, A, married, B, 20 years younger than me, C, has 2 kids, married to his high school sweetheart, that whole thing. Okay, fine. I'm not under any delusion that this dream is telling me that I'm going to marry Ed Sheeran, and nor do I want to. But what it was telling me, it was pointing me to the dream. And I was like, okay, what's that all about? So then I decided out of the blue, I was like, oh, I haven't watched Bridget Jones' Baby in a long time. So I was like, I'll watch that movie again. So I'm watching the movie, and 20 minutes in, who happens to be in the movie? Ed Sheeran. And I'm like, what is going on? Universe, what is going on? And so then I got another sign where he popped up on my Facebook feed. And then I just kept on getting these signs. And I'm like, okay, this makes absolutely no sense. What is happening? And so over the next couple of days, I'm staying with that feeling of what it felt like to be in the dream, to be in that beautifully, unconditionally loving connection. And it hit me. I was like, oh, that's what it is. So my guides wanted to give me what that feeling feels like in the dream. Because here's the thing. If you've never been in an unconditionally loving connection, it's hard to know exactly what that's going to feel like. And we know that when it comes to manifestation, you have to feel what it feels like to already have what it is you're looking for, what it is you're trying to manifest in your life. And if you don't already have that frame of reference, it's kind of hard to conjure up what that feeling actually is. And the key to manifestation is not only feeling what you want to feel, but repeatedly feeling what you want to feel. This is going to be a little bit of an exercise for you to practice if you can. Every time you find yourself going into some sort of limiting belief, some sort of belief system, some sort of past trauma, some sort of anything that doesn't serve you anymore, I want you to acknowledge the feeling. I want you to acknowledge the fact that, yeah, I might be frustrated, or yeah, maybe my boyfriend didn't text me back, in 3 days, and I'm really fuming that he ghosted me for that long. Whatever it happens to be, whatever that feeling is, feel it, don't ignore it, feel it, move through it. And then I want you to focus your attention on what you want. So let's take the texting situation. Okay, so your boyfriend, girlfriend didn't text you back and it's been 3 days and you're fuming. Okay, feel the anger and then focus on your heart, turn inward and focus on what you want to feel. I want to feel loved. I want to feel accepted. I want to feel like I'm important, like this person really cares about me and wants to be a part of my life. Whatever that really feels like to you, okay? Or maybe it is, I release the need to have this person text me every 3 days or every hour or every minute. And so this is what the dream was telling me. The dream was telling me that every time I was in that energy of looking to the past, looking at past traumas, looking at past hurts, whatever it happens to be, it's like that Ed Sheeran dream was popping into my head. And I'm like, okay. So what they're telling me to do is every time I feel that, I need to just remember what it felt like in that dream. Remember what that unconditionally loving feeling feels like. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there are very few people on this planet that are in unconditionally loving relationships. And the reason for that is because the whole of society has been so conditioned to believe what a relationship is supposed to be. And that is based in a whole lot of codependency. So this idea of being mad at somebody for not texting you back in 5 minutes, super codependent. This idea that this person has to be there for you at all times, no matter what, super codependent. So the feeling that you have when you are in your utmost joy, I want you to tap into that. I want you to feel into what you could possibly feel that would put you in better energy. It's funny. They're giving me the Harry Potter scene when the kids in Hogwarts are trying to get over their fears with the Bogart. Where they turn it into something ridiculous. They turn it into something that is super silly, right? So they're changing the energy of what they're feeling. They're feeling the feeling and then they're changing the energy. It's the same principle. So I hope that whatever you ask your guides for, it ends up being something that is really obvious for you. If you need a sign, I know now why my guides gave me Ed Sheeran as the sign in my dream, because it was the least likely person I would have chosen in terms of who I would have picked for a romantic partner, who I would have picked even musically for that matter, right? So now it's funny because I've actually listened to his music since then. And I'm like, it's not bad. Like it's pretty happy music. It's not too bad, But ultimately, now every time I see Ed Sheeran's face, hear about Ed Sheeran, anything about him, I basically am like, cool. I need to anchor in that unconditional love. Cool. All right, I'm going to do that now, right? So ask your guides, ask your angels for a sign or something that they can give you that's going to be able to anchor in that feeling. And it doesn't even have to be about relationships. It could be about money. It could be about a job. It could be about your limiting belief that you don't have enough power, that you don't have your own personal power, that you have no power over your own life, whatever it happens to be. I want you to ask your angels tonight. I want you to ask your angels before you go to bed. Please give me the messages I need to know and the feelings I need to feel in order to truly manifest the life that I am meant to live in this lifetime. So I'm going to ask my guides today for the channeled message to give us any other information they want to give us about anchoring in that feeling that you really want to call into your life. And maybe you don't have a frame of reference for that feeling. So give me a second. I'm just going to go into the channel. You have access to every single feeling and emotion that the human body can feel, that your energy field can feel. It is all within you. Whether or not you've experienced it makes no difference. It is about tapping into that feeling and finding it. And that is exactly, as Annette said, what we did for her in that dream. We like to bring a little humor to the work that we do because you often, as humans, take things a bit too seriously. Hence why we sent Annette Ed Sheeran in the dream, because we knew she would find it funny. We knew she would be amused by the whole thing. Ultimately, all we needed to do was we needed her to tap into that frequency. We needed her to tap into that feeling and that emotion of what it feels like to be completely in that rapture of unconditional love and what that feels like to share that unconditional love with another person. The reason why we have these particular references that we give to you on a regular basis is simply because these are representations of what unconditional love is. So we could have chosen somebody different for Annette to dream about. But in fact, Ed Sheeran's energy is full of unconditional love for his wife. And so ultimately, what he is feeling was the energy that we were tapping into. So you can use that yourself. If you see a couple or you see a person that has all of the things that you want, tap into that energy, emulate that energy. Now, we want to be clear about this because perceptions are not always what they seem. You might perceive a couple as having an absolutely perfect marriage, when in fact, they may not. So we want you to be careful about the energy that you're trying to emulate or tap into. So make sure whatever energy you're tapping into, it is energy that you are certain is in alignment for where you want to go and where you want to be. And it's not that you are in fact taking the energy of these other people. This is about observing. This is about feeling into and saying, yes, that's that feeling. And then creating that feeling within yourself. That is the difference. So you don't have to be super precise about the other person's energy if they are fully in unconditional love or not, or if they are fully in abundance mindset or not. But it is about that feeling. And if you have always grown up poor, for example, and you have never known abundance in this lifetime, it might be difficult for you to conjure up that feeling of what it feels like to have more money than you know what to do with. So from that standpoint, this is where you can tap into previous lifetimes. You can tap into other people on the planet who you admire who are very successful. Oftentimes, people will vilify rich people or people with money. And if you're vilifying them, that is basically pushing all of that abundance away from you. So find somebody who you truly admire, who you really feel is on the right frequency for you, and who is truly, truly abundant in all ways. And emulate that feeling. Ask your angels to give you this dream that Annette just recollected. Ask them to give you that dream that will allow you to feel that feeling. Because so much of manifestation is really rooted in the feeling. Yes, it starts with your thoughts. Of course it does. But your thoughts are what turn into the feelings. We want you to be able to feel that and feel it viscerally. And that's what they mean by anchor it in to reality. Pretend as if. Make believe. Make believe. Think about those two words. It's something that you use in childhood. To play make-believe means to make up stories, to be in fantasy. But it means so much more than that. It means to make yourself believe. Make yourself believe that it is possible. Make yourself believe that you are abundant, that you are deserving of unconditional love, that you are on the right path for your life purpose, that you are perfect in every way, flaws and all. We are always reminded of our shadow. We are always reminded of the things that we maybe don't like about ourselves, but guess what? That is also perfect. So be in that space of make believe. Make myself believe that I am worthy, that I am loved, that I am cherished. That is what is important in this life. It is important for you to feel that, and it is contagious. If you can feel these feelings and manifest, that will help the next person feel these feelings and manifest. It has a domino effect. It absolutely does. It will have a domino effect on the people that you know, the people around you. And the people who are not even close to the frequency that you are in manifestation, they will fall away from your life as they always do in your spiritual journey. But that's okay. That is part of their journey, and that is part of what they are going to learn. So make sure you're paying attention to where you are placing your energy. Are you focusing on all of the things that you don't want? Are you focusing on all of the negatives about your partner? Are you focusing on what they don't do constantly? Are you berating them about what they don't do constantly? We encourage you to change that script. Instead of berating your beloved about something that they haven't done, why don't you commend them on something they have done? Focus on the things that you love about them and accept them for the things you don't love about them. If you cannot accept another person for who they are unconditionally, there is nothing wrong with that. You simply move on to a different energy. That is how energy works. Whether you move on of your own volition or whether the universe allows that energy to break apart so you will then learn and move forward, that is entirely up to you in your own free will, whether you will do it willingly or whether you will just allow the energy to dissipate as it needs to. But like energy is always going to find like energy. That's the whole point. So if you are not in like energy anymore, it will eventually fall apart. You will eventually fall away from whatever it is you're connected to. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just simply moving into different energies. So if you want to look at it more like moving into different energies versus a loss, that will help you process the shifts and changes that happen as you manifest this new life. Because things will need to fall away as you manifest new things. The people that you have in your life who are very judgmental about people with wealth, if you constantly hang out with people who are criticizing wealth, it's going to have an effect on your energy field on how much wealth you can actually accumulate. So pay attention to the people that you're hanging out with as well, because those are the people that are going to reflect back at you what your energy is actually saying. And once you shift and change that feeling, you will no longer need those people to reflect that back at you. So either they will grow with you or they will fall away. We're not asking you to feel this 100% of the time. We understand that is unrealistic. But if you feel only 10% of what you want to feel most of the time, what would it feel like to move that needle over to 20% or 30%? What if you were living in 80% of the feelings that you want in your life 80% of the time? Magic happens there. So do a little assessment with yourself. Identify how much of the day do you spend thinking about or feeling into the feelings that you really want to have. The feelings that you can really create from within yourself, because it is all contained within you. You don't need another person to feel love. You don't need another person to feel loved. It's all within you. So tap into that. Exude that. And you will be magnetic for the things that are meant for you in this lifetime. I'm sending you tons and tons of love. Okay, great. Thank you so much for that channel. For those of you who are interested in who I channel each week, sometimes I get a message as to who it is. Sometimes I don't. This week, the message I got was that it was Archangel Raphael. Wonderful. Thank you. That makes a lot of sense because Archangel Raphael is really about healing. He's also really connected to that beautiful, unconditionally loving energy. So I hope you enjoyed this channeled message. I hope it was helpful for you in your week. If you are manifesting some particular feeling at this moment, please share it in social media, share it in the comments. I would love to hear about what you're working on. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next week. Have an amazing day and never stop exploring your soul, because it is the most important relationship you will ever have. If you are interested in learning more about me and the sessions that I do, feel free to go to my website at infinitesoullove.com. On all social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Infinite Soul Love 1111. Hey, and if you feel called, I would love it if you could rate The Heart of You on whatever streaming service you're using, whether it's Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Please take a moment, give it a review. It really does help the channel. Thanks so much.